I work with things professionally.
John, please tell me that's not actually what you said to a real human being.
That is exactly what I said to a real human being.
At a networking event. Out loud, with your mouth.
With my mouth? Yes, that's usually how talking works, Maria.
I need the full story. Right now.
Okay, so I'm at this networking event, and a guy walks up and asks the easiest possible question. So, what do you do?
The easiest question in the world.
The easiest question in the world, and my brain just froze. Completely, like someone pulled the plug.
And that's when things professionally happened.
That's when things professionally happened.
I'm sorry. I just need to sit with that sentence for a second.
The man looked at me like I'd escaped from somewhere.
Can you blame him?
No, honestly, I can't.
But here's the thing, John. I don't think your English failed you there.
Then what happened?
I think you were waiting for the perfect sentence to arrive before you'd let yourself speak.
Guilty. Completely guilty. In my head, I was building this beautiful, grammatically correct paragraph, and by the time it was ready, the guy had already changed the subject.
That's the trap, isn't it? We think fast speaking means having the perfect words ready.
Right, but actually,
it's the opposite.
it's the opposite. The people who sound quick on their feet aren't the ones with perfect sentences loaded up. They're the ones who let an imperfect sentence out the door first.
Which is exactly why, after that event, I built myself a little trick. I call it the draft speak method.
Tell them what that means.
It means instead of waiting for the final, polished version of a sentence, you say the rough draft out loud, and you let yourself fix it while you're already talking.
Like a writer who publishes the first draft instead of hiding it in a drawer for 6 months.
Exactly like that. Messy first, smooth later.
And that one small shift changed how you talk under pressure.
It genuinely did. So today, we're talking about how to think fast and speak smart in English without needing a perfect sentence sitting ready in your head before you open your mouth.
Hey there, welcome back to Speak Unstoppable, the show that makes English feel a little less scary.
I'm Maria.
And I'm John, the man who once described his career as things, professionally.
Never letting that go.
I accept my fate.
Today, we're talking about how to think fast and speak smart in English.
This is for anyone who understands so much in their head, but the second someone asks a real question, the words get stuck in traffic.
Basically, my whole networking story.
And today we fix that, not by making you smarter, but by changing how you let words out.
We've also got our word tour, 6 power words for thinking fast and rewrite it, turning frozen sentences into calm English.
Honestly, what did it feel like in your head before the draft speak method?
Honestly, it felt like standing in front of a locked door with the key in my hand, but I couldn't remember which way to turn it.
That's such a specific feeling.
It is. I knew the vocabulary. I knew the grammar. But my brain kept saying, wait, don't speak yet. It's not perfect yet.
That's actually the myth we need to break today.
Which myth?
That fast, confident speakers have some special gift where perfect sentences just appear in their heads instantly.
They don't?
No. Most fluent speakers are doing exactly what you were terrified to do.
Which is?
Speaking before the sentence is finished in their head.
So they're building the plane while flying it.
Basically, yes, fluent doesn't mean flawless. Fluent means the words keep moving, even while you're still figuring out the ending.
That reframes everything. I thought fluency meant having zero mistakes.
It actually means having zero long silences.
Say that again. That's good.
Fluency isn't the absence of mistakes, it's the absence of freezing.
I need that on a wall somewhere.
Think about it in your own language for a second.
Okay.
When you speak your native language, do you plan every sentence perfectly before it comes out?
No, not even close. Half the time I start a sentence without knowing exactly how I'll end it.
Exactly, and nobody thinks that's a problem.
Because it isn't. It's just how normal speech works.
So why do we suddenly demand perfection from ourselves the moment it's a second language?
Because it feels like every mistake is proof that we're not good enough.
But mistakes in a second language aren't proof of failure. They're proof that your brain is doing something incredibly hard in real time.
That's a kinder way to look at it.
It's also more accurate. Even native speakers restart sentences, use the wrong word, and correct themselves mid-thought constantly.
We just don't notice it. Because we're not judging them the way we judge ourselves.
Okay, since we're being honest, I have my own version of your networking freeze.
Please, I need company in my embarrassment.
I was in a job interview, and the interviewer asked, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?"
Classic question.
Classic question, and my brain decided to completely reject it. I just sat there thinking, in 5 years, I hope I'm still breathing. Is that an acceptable answer?
Please tell me you didn't say that.
I didn't say that, but I also didn't say anything smart. I said, I see myself growing. In a role that's good.
In a role that's good.
Stop.
I'm just appreciating the sentence.
The interviewer actually smiled a little, which somehow made it worse.
Why worse?
Because I could tell she was being kind about it, and kindness after a bad answer feels heavier than silence.
I know that exact feeling.
Afterward, I kept replaying it in my head, building the answer I should have given. Perfect sentences, great examples, confident tone.
But only after the moment had already passed.
Exactly. And that's the real problem, isn't it? We're brilliant speakers 3 minutes too late.
The shower genius phenomenon.
The what?
You know, when the perfect comeback or the perfect answer suddenly arrives while you're doing something completely unrelated, like washing dishes or standing in the shower.
Yes, exactly that. My brain saves its best work for moments when nobody's asking me anything.
So what would you tell yourself now, looking back at that interview?
I'd say, Maria, you didn't need the perfect answer. You needed any honest answer, spoken with a normal amount of confidence.
Even a simple one.
Even something like, honestly, I'm still figuring that out, but I know I want to keep growing and taking on more responsibility.
That's a completely fine answer.
It is. It's not poetic, it's not perfect, but it's real, and it doesn't leave a silence hanging in the room.
That silence is the actual enemy here, not the mistake.
Right. Nobody remembers your slightly awkward grammar. They remember the long, uncomfortable pause where nothing came out at all.
So let's reframe this properly. What is the actual goal when you're speaking English in the moment?
I used to think the goal was correctness.
And now?
Now I think the goal is momentum. Keeping the conversation moving forward, like water flowing instead of water frozen in a block of ice.
I love that image. Frozen water versus flowing water.
A grammar mistake is just a small rock in the stream. The water goes around it and keeps moving.
But silence is a dam.
Exactly. Silence stops everything.
So if momentum is the real goal, that changes what we should practice.
Right. Instead of practicing perfect grammar in your head before speaking, you practice letting sentences start even when you're not sure how they'll end.
That sounds a little terrifying.
It feels terrifying the first few times. And then it starts feeling like relief.
Relief how?
Because you stop carrying the pressure of getting it right on the first try. You just start talking. And you trust yourself to adjust along the way.
Like steering a car while it's already moving, instead of trying to plan the entire route before you turn the key.
That's exactly the shift. Speak first, steer second.
But doesn't that mean sometimes we'll say something wrong?
Sometimes, yes, and that's allowed.
Genuinely allowed?
Genuinely. Because a small grammar mistake in a moving conversation almost never breaks understanding. The other person usually fills in the gap without even noticing.
But a long freeze breaks the conversation completely.
It breaks the rhythm, it breaks your confidence, and honestly, it makes the other person a little uncomfortable too.
So momentum protects both people, not just you.
Exactly. When you keep talking, even imperfectly, you're actually being kind to the conversation itself.
I never thought about it as kindness before.
It is. A flowing, imperfect sentence is easier to listen to than a long, painful silence followed by a perfect one.
Okay, so let's actually break down the draft speak method, step by step, because I think people want the practical version now.
Fair. Step 1.
Step 1. When a question hits you, don't search for the perfect sentence. Search for the simplest, true sentence instead.
So if someone asks about your job, you don't need the polished version.
Right, you just need something true and simple, like I work in marketing instead of freezing while you try to build something impressive.
Step 2.
Step 2. Once that simple sentence is out, add one more detail. Just one.
So the sentence grows naturally instead of arriving fully formed.
Exactly. I work in marketing becomes I work in marketing, mostly with small businesses.
That's much less pressure than trying to say the whole thing perfectly in one breath.
Step 3 is the one people forget. Allow yourself to correct mid-sentence out loud.
Like actually saying, let me say that differently.
Exactly that. Native speakers do it constantly, and it sounds completely normal, not weak.
So correcting yourself out loud isn't a failure. It's actually part of fluent, natural speech.
It's proof the conversation is alive and moving, not proof that something went wrong.
Can I add a step 4?
Please, this is your method. I'm just narrating it.
Step 4. Breathe between sentences instead of rushing to fill every gap.
Why does that matter?
Because a short pause to breathe feels completely different from a long, panicked freeze. One is natural rhythm, the other is fear.
That's true, actually. A 1-second pause while you breathe sounds thoughtful.
Right, it sounds like someone choosing their words, not someone lost.
So the whole method is really just simple sentence, add detail, correct out loud if needed, and breathe.
That's it. 4 small steps instead of one impossible demand to be perfect.
When you put it that way, it sounds almost doable.
It is doable. That's the entire point. It's built for real conversations, not perfect essays.
Okay, but let me push back a little here.
Go ahead.
Doesn't speaking in rough drafts risk sounding sloppy or even unprofessional in serious situations?
That's a fair worry, and I don't want to pretend it isn't real.
Like in a job interview. or a business meeting.
Right. In those moments, people do care about clarity. But here's the thing. Sloppy and imperfect aren't the same word.
Explain the difference.
Sloppy means careless, like you didn't try. Imperfect just means human, like you're actually thinking in real time instead of reciting something memorized.
So, a slightly imperfect but confident answer can actually sound more professional than a robotic, over-rehearsed one.
Often, yes, people trust speech that sounds alive over speech that sounds performed.
That's reassuring.
And there's a difference between formal writing and spoken conversation. Writing gets edited before anyone sees it. Speech doesn't, and everyone quietly understands that.
So, we're not lowering the standard, we're just applying the right standard for the right moment.
Exactly. Nobody expects spoken English to read like a finished essay, not even from native speakers.
Can I add one more worry people probably have?
Go for it.
What if speaking faster just means making more mistakes, and those mistakes actually confuse the listener?
That happens sometimes, sure, but confusion usually comes from unclear meaning, not small grammar slips.
Give me an example.
If you say I go there yesterday, instead of I went there yesterday, the listener still completely understands you went there. The meaning survives.
But if you freeze for 10 seconds trying to fix the tense, the listener loses the thread entirely.
Exactly, and loses patience a little too.
So the real risk isn't small errors, it's losing the listener's attention through silence.
That's the trade-off worth remembering. A little roughness keeps people engaged. A long freeze loses them.
So let's bring this all the way back to you at that networking event.
Please, drag me back there.
If you used the draft speak method that night, what would have actually come out of your mouth?
Honestly, probably something like, I work in marketing, mostly helping small businesses grow online.
That's a completely normal, confident answer.
It is, and it's nothing special, which is exactly the point. It didn't need to be special. It just needed to exist.
Instead of I work with things, professionally,
Please, we agreed to move on from that.
we did not agree to that.
Fine, we didn't.
But seriously, that's the whole shift today. Thinking fast doesn't mean thinking better, it means thinking smaller and letting the sentence grow as you go.
Simple sentence first, detail after, correction aloud, breathing aloud.
And silence is the only real enemy in the room.
Not mistakes, not accents, not imperfect grammar, just silence.
I actually feel calmer about speaking just hearing that broken down.
That's the goal. Thinking fast isn't a talent some people have and others don't. It's a habit you build one rough, honest sentence at a time.
And every time you speak instead of freezing, that habit gets a little stronger.
Even if the sentence isn't perfect.
Especially if the sentence isn't perfect, because that's the version your brain actually learns from.
A frozen silence teaches you nothing.
But an imperfect sentence that made it out into the world, that teaches you everything.
So the next time someone asks you a question and your brain wants to build the perfect paragraph first, remember, simple sentence, keep moving. Fix it as you go.
And maybe don't describe your job as things professionally.
One time. It happened one time.
Now let's slow down and practice today's power words. Words that help you talk about thinking fast and speaking with confidence without needing a script in front of you. Our first word is hesitate.
Hesitate. Hesitate.
Hesitate means to pause because you're unsure or nervous about what to say or do next.
In conversation, you might say, I hesitated for a second before answering, but then I just went for it.
And in writing, you could say, don't hesitate to ask questions during the meeting.
This word is useful because it names the exact feeling we talked about today. That little gap before the words come out.
Right. And once you can name a feeling, it's much easier to manage it instead of being controlled by it. Our next word is spontaneous.
Spontaneous. Spontaneous.
Spontaneous means happening naturally, without a lot of planning ahead of time.
You might say, that was a totally spontaneous answer. I didn't plan any of it.
Or in writing, her spontaneous sense of humor made the interview feel relaxed.
I like this word because it turns unplanned into something positive instead of something to be embarrassed about.
Exactly. Spontaneous sounds confident, not careless. Our next word is filler.
Filler.
Filler means a small word or sound, like or well, that we use to hold our place while we think.
You could say, I used a lot of fillers, but at least I kept talking.
Or, in writing, fillers are completely normal in natural spoken English.
This one gives people permission. Honestly, fillers feel like a mistake, but every native speaker uses them constantly.
They're not a weakness. They're just thinking out loud. Our next word is paraphrase.
Paraphrase.
Paraphrase means to say the same idea again using different, often simpler words.
You might say, I forgot the exact word, so I just paraphrased it instead.
Or in writing, when you don't know a word, paraphrasing keeps the conversation moving.
This is probably the single most practical word today.
Why is that?
Because it solves the exact problem of forgetting a word mid-sentence, which happens to every learner constantly.
Instead of freezing when a word disappears from your memory, you just describe it in different words and keep going. Our next word is streamline.
Streamline.
Streamline means to make something simpler and more efficient by removing anything extra.
You could say, I streamlined my answer instead of adding 10 unnecessary details.
Or in writing, streamlining your sentences makes you sound clearer and more confident.
This connects straight back to the draft speak method, keeping the sentence simple instead of overloaded.
A streamlined sentence is easier to finish and easier to understand too. Our final word is improvise.
Improvise.
Improvise means to create or respond in the moment without a prepared script.
You might say, I forgot my notes, so I just had to improvise the whole answer.
Or, in writing, great communicators know how to improvise when a conversation takes an unexpected turn.
This word basically sums up the whole episode.
It does. Real conversation is improvised all the time by everyone, in every language, in every country, whether it's a first language or a fifth one.
So maybe the goal was never to eliminate improvising, just to get more comfortable doing it.
That's exactly the shift we hope you take with you today. Those were today's power words: hesitate, spontaneous, filler, paraphrase, streamline, and improvise. Try using at least one of them the next time you speak English this week, out loud, even if it feels a little rough at first.
So later, when you have a quiet moment, come back to this part and read it slowly, or even say it out loud. This is our Rewrite It segment, where we take nervous, frozen sentences and turn them into calmer, more confident English.
First sentence. I don't know what to say, so I'm just going to stay quiet.
Let's rewrite that. I hesitate a little before I speak, but I still try to say something, even if it's simple.
Much better. And notice it doesn't erase the nervousness. It just refuses to let the nervousness win the whole moment. Second sentence. My English isn't good enough to have a real conversation.
Rewrite. My English is still growing, but I can improvise enough to keep a conversation going.
That already sounds like a completely different person talking, someone who's in progress instead of someone who's stuck. Third sentence. I say and too much, it makes me sound stupid.
Rewrite. I use fillers sometimes while I think, and that's a totally normal part of speaking naturally.
That one probably needs to be heard by a lot of people. Fourth sentence. If I don't know a word, I just stop talking.
Rewrite. If I forget a word, I paraphrase it and keep the conversation moving forward.
That single change alone could fix so many awkward silences we've all sat through. Fifth sentence. I have to plan my whole answer perfectly before I open my mouth.
Rewrite. I streamline my answer to the simplest true sentence, and I build from there.
That feels achievable, not exhausting. Sixth sentence. I could never just talk without preparing everything in advance.
Rewrite. I'm learning to speak more spontaneously, and it's getting a little easier every single time.
That word learning is doing a lot of work there. It turns a fixed problem into an ongoing process.
Notice something about all 6 of these rewrites.
They're not claiming perfection anywhere.
Exactly. Not one of them says I'm fluent now or I never make mistakes.
They just replace shame with honesty, and honesty with a small amount of forward motion.
That's really the whole heart of today's episode, isn't it?
It is. You don't need a perfect script sitting ready in your head.
You need permission to hesitate sometimes, to improvise often, to paraphrase when a word disappears, and to streamline your sentence instead of overloading it.
And most of all, permission to sound a little spontaneous, a little unfinished, and still completely worth listening to.
Because the version of you that speaks with a little hesitation is still miles ahead of the version of you that stays silent.
Say that one more time, slowly, for anyone who needs it today.
A little hesitation, spoken out loud, beats perfect silence every single time.
Keep that sentence with you this week, even when the conversation feels a bit uncomfortable.
So let's bring today's lesson home. Thinking fast doesn't mean thinking perfectly. It means keeping the sentence moving instead of freezing.
Simple sentence. Add a detail, correct yourself if needed, breathe, and repeat.
That's the whole draft speak method.
Here's your challenge this week. Next time someone asks you a question in English, don't wait for the perfect answer.
Just say the simplest true sentence you can, out loud, and let it grow from there.
Then come back and tell us in the comments what happened. Did you hesitate? Did you improvise?
Write it below, even if it feels small or a little messy.
And if this episode helped you feel calmer about speaking, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
Thank you for spending this time with us today.
Keep practicing. Keep talking, even when it isn't perfect.
Bye for now.